Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Speak English Now, the podcast where we make English feel like a walk in the park. I am Mark, and as always, I am joined by the brilliant Diana.
Hi, Mark. It is wonderful to be here today, and a huge welcome to all our listeners tuning in from around the globe. Before we dive into today's incredibly important topic, we have a tiny favor to ask you. If you enjoy our episodes and want to help our channel grow, please hit that like button right now, and don't forget to subscribe to Speak English Now. Turn on the notification bell too, so you never miss our weekly tips.
Yes, absolutely. Your support keeps us going, so please subscribe. Now, Diana, let's get straight to the point. Today, we are addressing a massive problem. Millions of people study English for years. They know the grammar, they can read thick books, and they understand everything we are saying right now. But when it is their turn to open their mouth and speak, they just freeze. Why do you think this happens?
Mark, I see this every day. The biggest mistake learners make is that they try to speak like a book. They think that to sound fluent, they must use big, complex words and long, complicated sentences. When they try to do this in a real conversation, their brain gets overloaded, they get stressed, and they stop talking completely.
Exactly. They treat spoken English like a university exam. But the truth is, daily conversation is actually very simple. Native speakers use basic, short phrases every single day. Today, we want to show our listeners how they can build an entire effective conversation using nothing but very simple sentences. We want to give them a practical toolkit.
I love that idea, Mark. Let's actually show them how it works. Let's break down a typical day and look at the simple phrases anyone can use immediately without fear. Let's start with the very beginning of any interaction, greetings and small talk.
Perfect. Many learners think they need to say things like, "How do you do?" or "It is an absolute honor to encounter you." No one talks like that in real life. It sounds like a movie from the 1800s.
Exactly. It is way too formal. If you want to start a conversation naturally, just keep it short. You can simply say, "Hi, how's it going? Good morning, how are you today? Hey, what's up?"
Those are perfect, Diana, and the responses are just as simple. You don't need to give a long speech about your life. You can just say, "I'm good, thanks. How about you?" "Not bad. Pretty busy." "Everything's great. Thanks for asking."
See? That is just 4 or 5 words per sentence. It takes zero effort for your brain to process. Once you say hello, the next step that terrifies people is keeping the conversation alive, what we call small talk. People worry they won't know what to say.
But small talk is just about asking simple questions to show you are friendly. You can ask about their day, their weekend, or even the weather. For example, "Nice weather today, isn't it? Did you have a good weekend? Are you busy this week?"
And if they ask you a question and you don't know how to continue, you can use a magic phrase that shifts the focus back to them. Just say, "What about you?" or "How about you?" This keeps the conversation moving smoothly while giving your brain a chance to rest and breathe.
That is a great trick, Diana. Now let's move to another common situation, expressing an opinion or making a choice. Imagine you are with a colleague or a friend and you need to decide where to eat lunch or what project to focus on. Learners often struggle because they try to translate deep thoughts from their native language.
Yes, they overthink it. Instead of trying to say something complex like, "I have been contemplating the various culinary options and I believe Italian cuisine would be superior," just say, "I think Italian food is a good idea. I prefer coffee over tea. In my opinion, this plan is better."
Look at how clean those sentences are. Subject, verb, object. Simple. What if you agree or disagree with someone? Again, keep it minimal. You don't need to explain why for 20 minutes.
Right. If you agree, you can just say, "I agree with you completely. That makes sense. You're absolutely right."
And what if you disagree? Many learners are afraid to disagree because they think they will sound rude if they don't use complex, polite phrases. But you can be simple and polite at the same time. You can say, "I see your point, but I think differently. I'm not sure about that. I prefer a different approach."
Those phrases are excellent because they protect your confidence. They are short, so you won't stumble over your words, and they are clear, so the other person understands you instantly.
Now, let's talk about a moment that causes pure panic, when you are talking to someone and you suddenly don't understand what they said. Maybe they spoke too fast or used a word you don't know. Most learners just smile, nod, and pretend they understand. That is a trap.
Oh, it is a huge trap. And then the other person asks you a question and you don't know how to reply because you weren't actually listening. There is absolutely no shame in asking for clarification. Even native speakers do it all the time when the line is bad or someone mumbles.
Exactly. So instead of panicking, just memorize these simple lifesaver phrases. Could you repeat that, please? Could you speak a bit slower? Sorry, I didn't catch that. What does that word mean?
Let's focus on that last one. What does that word mean? This is the ultimate tool for language learning. If someone uses a word like subsequent or cluttered and you don't know it, just ask. It shows you are actively engaged in the conversation and it helps you learn new vocabulary naturally during a real chat.
Exactly. And if you want to check if the other person understood you, you don't need a complex sentence. Just ask, does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
These short phrases give you control over the conversation. You are no longer just a passive listener who is terrified of getting lost. You are actively managing the speed and clarity of the dialogue.
Let's move into the professional and daily task environment. A lot of our listeners need English for work, emails, or dealing with customer service. They think business English requires massive corporate words, but modern business communication actually values simplicity and directness.
Absolutely. Time is money in business. Nobody wants to read or listen to a 5-minute explanation when a 10-second sentence can do the job. Let's look at how to ask for something or delegate a task simply. Can you help me with this report? Please send me the file by 3 p.m. Let's schedule a short meeting tomorrow.
Perfect. And if you are the one responding to a request at work, you can keep your answers equally short and professional. Sure, I can do that. I am on it right now. I will check and get back to you.
What about making a phone call or booking an appointment? That is another high-stress situation because you can't see the person's face or body language, but the phrases remain very simple. If you are calling a clinic or a company, you just say, "Hello, I would like to book an appointment, please. Is Dr. Smith available today? Thank you for your time."
It is like building with Lego blocks, Diana. Each simple phrase is a block. You don't need to build a massive castle all at once. You just connect one small block to another.
Beautifully said, Mark. Now let's look at the final part of any effective dialogue, wrapping it up and saying goodbye. Sometimes conversations drag on because the learner doesn't know how to leave politely without sounding abrupt.
Right. You don't want to just look at your watch and run away, but you also don't need a long, dramatic explanation about why you have to leave. You can exit any conversation smoothly with these simple sentences. It was great talking to you. I have to go now, but let's stay in touch. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you later.
Those are so warm and polite. Let's look at how the other person can reply to that. Same here. Take care. Sure, talk to you soon. You too. Bye.
And just like that, the conversation is complete. It started smoothly, information was shared, choices were made, and it ended politely. And guess what? Not a single complex word was used. No advanced grammar rules were violated. This is what real fluency looks like.
Mark, I think this is the most important lesson we can give our audience today. Fluency does not mean perfection. Fluency means the ability to deliver your message clearly and understand the response. If simple sentences allow you to do that, then you are fluent.
Exactly. Think about a child learning their first language. They don't start with poetry. They say, "I want water. Cat is cute. Go outside." They communicate effectively. As an adult learner, you need to give yourself permission to use childlike simplicity at the beginning. Once you get comfortable speaking without fear using simple tools, your brain will naturally start expanding those sentences over time.
Yes, consistency is much more important than intensity. Speaking simple English every day for 5 minutes is 100 times better than studying complex grammar for 3 hours on Saturday, but never opening your mouth to talk.
So to everyone listening to us today, let go of the pressure. Stop trying to impress people with your vocabulary. Just try to express yourself clearly. Use the simple phrases we shared today. Practice them with a friend, practice them in front of the mirror, or practice them in the comments section below.
Oh yes, let's turn the comments section into a practice zone. Write down your favorite simple phrase from today's episode, or try to introduce yourself using just 3 simple sentences. Mark and I will be reading your comments and cheering you on.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Speak English Now. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you, everyone. And remember one last time, if you found this conversation helpful, please give us a like, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button. Share this podcast with a friend who is also trying to overcome their fear of speaking English.
Keep it simple, keep practicing, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Goodbye.